the most.
Yes.
As he's going to be able to really utilize his multitasking, his huge APM. I think it's going to be very beneficial to him. And we're going to see how he's going to be able to do.
That is where his speed will come in. Now, in the middle left portion of the map, as the green Zerg, we do have 6 Jax Vibe morphing in. And in the middle right side of the map, we do have Liquid TLO.
Indeed, so they are going to spawn in cross positions. This is really nice for the Zerg. Again, you want to go into that huge macro game, I would feel, for Vibe. Vibe really is looking to that, where he can really utilize his huge APM. And I think we're going to see a game that's going to be more suited towards that, since we are in cross positions.
Yeah, with the bigger map, he's definitely going to be able to let his hair down, so to speak, and really just kind of expand with his speed and gameplay. I mean, that's where the multitasking comes in handy. Now, tell me a little bit about TLO. You are a Terran player, Greetorp, and his Terran, it's unorthodox for sure. But what kind of stuff does this map offer? Like, I see the double expansions.
Yeah.
I know that a planetary fortress right smack dab in the middle map, very powerful, but in this matchup in particular, what do you think you can expect from TLO?
Well, generally how Terrans like to play this map is you go very defensive on 3 base. You can grab your natural very easily. We can see the naturals right here. And then just a little bit up, we can get the 3rd. Now, getting those 3 base, you can get a lot of defensive units. And because you get it so fast, you have such a booming economy. With that, you just do a small push out and take your 4th over here. And you just play a straight-up macro game. You can just do these huge pushes to all these directions.
Command center first, command center first. TLO, are you going to do it? Yes. So we have a command center first. Both players are opting for their secondary town hall structure, if you will. A little bit of a throwback town hall. For those of you who are not aware, it's Warcraft. Yeah, that's right. I played other games with StarCraft. Spawning pool is going down for the Zerg player. Pretty basic. I mean, nothing flashy here just yet. I mean, the command center first would be considered unorthodox or flashy, except that on Terminus Re, again, with those double expansions and the map being as large as it is, that can almost be considered standard play.
Yeah.
In fact, you'll see a lot more Zerg cheese on this map, if not macro play, because they're counting on their Terran opponent to do stuff like that. Now, double barracks does go down at this choke point. A 3rd barracks would completely block that off. I doubt we'll see a 3rd one this fast. Probably just going to rely on the first 2 to kind of hold it down.
Indeed, and Liquid TLO is going to be able to scout out Vibe. Vibe, we can see, has not thrown down any gas, and that might be a little bit indicative of a much stronger drone pump in this beginning. So Vibe really looks to be taking
SCV.
a huge...
And the first casualty, sorry to cut you off there, Greetorp, this drone putting his Mel Gibson hat on just a little bit, kind of taking on the Empire. Marine will come out, though, and it will be thwarted, but a little bit of a misstep by TLO there.
Indeed, TLO just going to lose the first SCV, not going to be too detrimental, but of course any advantage that Vibe can get, he's going to go ahead and take. Now, first Marine is out, going to be able to kill off this drone pretty easily. Yes, the drone does go down.
Yep,
and
spine crawler down for the Zerg player. Kind of interesting. I think that's a little bit fast. I mean, he knows there's only one Marine out. I guess he's just getting it out because he wants the drone pretty hard right now.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to worry about the timing of it later. I'm just kind of used to the Brood War pros of the old days, like really waiting to the last possible moment to make it. But we're going ahead and putting down a creep team. A couple Lings are going to make their way out here. This is really important because it's such a large map and because these Xel'Naga towers are so important in the middle of the map. They reveal so much in terms of the space between the 2 bases. You really want to have control of them fast, and that's actually something TLO is already doing, nabbing that, I guess we can call it the top left Xel'Naga tower. Spotting these couple of Zerglings make their way out, and that's why these Marines are going to meet them in the middle. And, okay, a little bit of a contact. One Ling does go down, the other one's injured. Again, not that big of a deal, but really nice from TLO to kind of thwart that information and at least create the idea that he's being aggressive here.
Indeed, and what I really like right now from Vibe, he's taking an expansion right now. That is an extremely fast 3rd.
Yeah.
Doing it off of Hatchery Tech, just now getting the Roaches Warren, so he's going to be able to brush away a lot of this early game pressure. You can see Marines trying to snipe in here a little bit, but this Spine Crawler is going to force all those 5 Marines away very easily.
Yep, and the factory does go down for TLO. It is actually completing the wall alongside the double barracks. And that is actually the second factory, so it's going to finish after the one inside his main. I like this from TLO, though. So starting the wall with those barracks, at least putting forward the idea and concept that he's doing kind of a bio opening, and then following it up with pretty heavy mech play. I mean, the double factory at least suggests there will be a strong mech presence, at least here in the next few moments. We do have a Hellion being produced off that first factory. I can only assume that, yep, there we go, second Hellion is constructed as well on the second factory. Still no third command center. That's something that a lot of Terrans like to do. They are fairly safe behind that wall. We do have an armory going down. Now, is that for upgrades or Thors, do you think?
It's most likely going to be for Thors. Again, Thors are such a strong defensive unit. It's going to be able to lock down a lot of position, and then now Liquid TLO does look like he's going to push out with a couple of Hellions and a group of Marines. This is a lot of Marines, actually. There are a total of 11 Marines in this group.
Oh,
the Roaches are out on the field.
Does go down.
Kill one of these Hellions. Really nice play from Vibe. Just getting these Hellions out really early. Oh, and a little bit of lag from TLO is going to come in.
German efficiency, help us now. But that Hellion in front of the Marine Force, I think that's a little bit of a misstep. You got to know creeps there, so you got to know that the Hellion is going to be seen. We're just kind of waiting for TLO to connect here. Actually, quite a bit of bad lag, so hopefully this doesn't continue to get worse. Nice pause from Vibe. Let that lag kind of settle. And we'll get right back to the game here in a moment, folks. We're going to wait for Battle.net to kind of readjust itself. Right now, I imagine it's fixing its jacket, straightening its hair. It's got a little smudge on the side of its cheek, perhaps.
So, I mean, right now it's a little bit of a easy position. There isn't too much going on. There's a little bit of pressure, but I think those Roaches are going to be able to lock down a lot of that position. Here we go, back into the game.
That'll follow your point, though. I actually think the Roaches are going to be quite powerful. And another pause from 6x5. So actually, in that pause, his hotkeys reset, so he's actually probably going to take a moment here to go ahead and set them back. But let's go ahead and get inside the game just a little bit. I feel like TLO's push is really strong on a smaller map because it's going to get there a lot faster. And he saw the spine crawler, so I mean, we're not going to be criticizing TLO just yet because I feel like it's more of like a posturing thing. Like, like Vibe has no idea what's coming up behind it, so he's got to maybe throw more down. But I really like the Thor follow-up because when you open up Roach, it's good against everything but Thors. I mean, he's going to be in some trouble if that gets going.
I mean, Thors do extremely well against everything. Here we go, back into the game. As I was saying, Thors do extremely well defensively. Locks down position. You really cannot bust that unless you have a ton of units, just because SCVs can go ahead and repair. So, as you said, I think these Hellions and Marines are just going to be posturing. This is exactly what he needs to do. This is just going to say, hey, do not drone pump so much, because now I'm going to threaten you with a lot of these units.
Go down. I guess you could call them scouting Zerglings because they certainly didn't have any kind of aggressive bone in their body. Hellions torched them for very little cost to them, about 15 damage to one Hellion. Now, here's that thing we were talking about. I think TLO is just setting up there. A couple of creep stormers are going to be under siege. Roach is moving out to disrupt the party, but TLO just runs right past him. He's going for the ramp. A couple of Hellions meet him there, and he's just taken too much damage. So all the Hellions will perish before making their journey into that Zerg base, and the Marines are left alone outside, probably to return home. Now look at this, a fast infestation pit, and we do have the pathogen glands going down. This is something we talked about in our pregame show about Vibe. He is a big infestor lover.
Yeah, definitely. Infestors have been buffed in the most recent patch, so they are super strong right now. It's going to be really nice to be throwing down these infestors since you have tons of room. The spacing between each of your bases is so huge. So to be able to have so much time for that infestor play, it's going to be really nice. He has that time to get all that energy, and not only that, he can go ahead and fungal for a long period of time.
Yes, so now just kind of return to the layout of what's going on here. TLO is pumping out those Thors quite readily. The third command center has gone down at the third base. Now, on this version of Terminus, there is no back-destructible rock, so this base is pretty dang safe from land-based attacks. So that's why we're going to see an orbital command there, not a planetary fortress or anything like that. We do have several more factories going down, so it is up to a total of, it looks like 3 in operation right now, but a fourth one, nope, actually it's a barracks. He's going to mix some bio in with these Thors, and we do have quite a large Marine force actually touching down here. So it looks like it's going to be Thor, Marine, and actually a couple of tanks moving out. So I really like this play. I think the Thors take care of kind of air threats. Obviously, the bio allows for a lot of options against, as long as you micro them well. I mean, it forces Banelings. If you don't make Banelings against that, well, I guess the Infestor okay. A little bit of Ling tickling going on at the front of the wall. This is just that 500 APM kicking in here, ladies and gentlemen. Like, he can actually do that, and with his toes, he's macroing right now.
Yeah, I mean, what it's going to come down to is how good is Vibe's Infestor play. If he can get good fungal growths and be able to isolate those Marines and stop the Marine Thor, there is going to be tanks, however. It does look like TLO is including there.
I think he's switching to Ling Infestor entirely.
Yeah.
I don't see more roaches coming out. He is actually getting the Neural Parasite as well. That's kind of cool. And a Nidus Worm. A couple of big upgrades there. But if you look at his roach upgrades, they're non-existent. So I think those were just for the Hellions.
Yep.
And right now it's all Roach Ling. Or, excuse me, Ling Infestor.
Yeah, Ling Infestor is pretty standard. This is going to allow him to get a lot of Infestors up. We can also see Evolution Chambers are being upgraded. The +1/1/1 for melee attack for the Zerglings, and also the 1 for Carapace. That's going to be upgraded. Again, a lot of gas is freed up by not going those Banelings, and we've been seeing this type of style a lot more. Now going to be throwing down these rocks, and it looks like Vibe is geared up to expand yet again.
Yeah, it's going to take its 4th base in that middle area. A little bit of a push out, making sure to secure these towers. TLO has the same idea. Lings moving in for the surround. Could be donating some Lings here. And the Hellions and Lings will go down at a relatively low cost. Lings are pretty disposable. Nice little exchange for Vibe. Now, here's what I like that's shaping up here. The mobility and speed of Vibe's army mixed with the Nidus Worm is a strong counter to Mech. Now, hold that thought. Nidus Worm back in the Terran base, but I think it's going to go down. Yes. Only a couple of Lings get in. The health of the Nidus Worm is so low.
Yeah. Indeed, and we can see Infestors and Zerglings with a couple of Roaches are going to go in the middle of the map, just going to try to posture and get a little bit of position. Again, you don't want to be giving Terran free.
Top left. TLO is not responding.
Is going to be scouted out. Meanwhile, there is a little bit of engagement in the front. Going to be taking 2 of the tanks now.
Neural Parasites.
Oh my gosh, really nice for Neural Parasites going off. But all the Infestors get hit. And a lot of them are going to go down.
And there's nothing coming out of that Nidus Worm, so a little bit of a missed opportunity. They will come out now, but I would have loved to have seen it come out at the same time. TLO is under siege. The mobility of his army is going to be holding him back and restricting him just a little bit. It's pure Lings coming out right now.
Ooh, and in the main, too, there's another Nidus Worm going to be showing up. There are Marines just around the corner, and they just start attacking the Nidus Worm. So Vibe just macroing and microing all over the place, multitasking, pushing him to the limits, but there are no units
it does go down. The other one does as well. So, slight macro harass, but I got to tell you what, TLO held all 3 of those attacks brilliantly. The one in the main base, of course, never came to fruition, and the one in the back of TLO's base, I mean, he pulled the SCVs immediately. Very low cost to him. Now, here's what Vibe has going for him, though. We do have huge upgrades going. That Ultralis upgrade for the Carapace is going down now. Very powerful unit.
Yeah.
But his units are relatively inexpensive. I mean, yes, the Infestors cost 200 gas, but when you're not spending down on anything else, you can make a lot of those.
I couldn't agree more. And, you know, he does have a huge buildup of gas from just going this mass Zergling. And he does have a lot of Infestors, though, however, and the Infestors do look like they want to push out into position. Oh, one huge fungal growth is going to go off. A second one goes off, going to be able to kill a good bunch of Marines, but I don't know. I mean, he still has all those tanks and Thors to deal with. That is a lot of units for Vibe to be able to kill, so these Ultralisks need to do a ton of damage to be able to break that position.
And that Nidus network is just tucked in there near the natural. Overlords are moving into, like, almost like sharks in the water outside of TLO's base, looking for a niche or a spot to lay down that groundwork for the Nidus Worm. But you know what? It's been that Hoon's been has been 2 to 3 times. I feel like TLO is going to be all over it. That's why we're seeing some Marines around the perimeter. Loading up for the drop. I do like the Ghost play, though. Look at this. Ghost Academy down for the Terran player. Very good against Infestors.
Indeed, you need to get the Ghosts out. They're really important. I love this TLO actually making 3 command centers. Now, he can do a couple of things with this. One of the biggest things with Terminus Re is that you can be counterattacked when defending this outwards expansion over here. So getting these 3 command centers, I mean, I don't know if he's going to be using any of them for Planetary Fortress just yet, but he definitely could be. And meanwhile, there are some drops going on in the bottom middle position. There is a Marine drop going down to this bottom base. Does look like it's going to be able to... Oh, he just picks him up again.
And to drop him back down again. It's like a little bit of a... It's almost the Quiet Rice Depot bench press, if you will. Another Nidus Worm going down, though. Oh my gosh, Greetorp. This one could go right under TLO's nose. It will
Doesn't
complete.
see
This will
it.
finish.
Doesn't see it.
Nothing moving over there. The drop has not happened at this middle expansion, but that's not even saturated or finished. So not that big of a deal. Probably waiting for it to complete. And a double prong attack, but he's going to go ahead and back away from that. It's like getting your hands stuck on that burner. Just a few lanes coming out, but this can do a lot of economic damage. Again, it's that mobility of TLO. And here we go. The Lings are moving in, a little bit unguided. Not much of a conflict in the middle of the map. He's just kind of sharking around. And I would have liked to have seen more of a commitment from Vibe here. I mean, he's got a wide open access into the main. Ultra's loaded up. Do they get out? No! It's not.
Oh, they do!
They do get out!
Oh my God! And now these Ultras are just going to go to town on these Marines. The Marines only have
He's
2
gonna target
upgrades.
it, and he gets
Very
it!
nice. Very,
Gets
very
the
nice.
nice worm.
But, oh, look at this. Infestors are going to come up here. Not going to be able to put down any fungal growth. Oh, what a huge misstep for Vibe. Vibe's
kind of a
going to lose all
misclick
of them.
there. Now the Ghost Academy is being tarred down. Pretty expensive structure.
Oh, no.
Meanwhile,
Look in the main of Vibe right now.
Yeah.
Vibe is going to lose his Greater Spire. That is a huge pickoff. And TLO looking really good. Both of them just trading mains a little bit, losing pretty valuable structures
TLO's coming out
and
on top,
units.
though. There's no question about it. I mean, he is rock steady in the middle of the map, and I feel like Vibe's losing a little bit. Actually, those Marines are still there. They get a Queen on top of it, so that a Greater Spire and a Queen goes down for the cost of a Marine drop. There's also some kind of action at the natural of the Zerg base, and forgive you guys for not catching that, but or maybe the Zerg army was just like all over that. I don't know, but little bit of confusion from Vibe. He is just on 4 bases if you want to count the main, which is equal to the Terran, and that is not a good place to be.
Oh, but it's much worse than you think, because look at this over here. TLO has 5 orbital command centers, and he is going to be getting mass orbital command centers from mules.
And I mean, if you pull down the income tab, they're about equal on harvesters, but that's not really the tail. There's probably about 300,000 mules dropping around. In fact, the main and natural of the Terran is being mined out almost completely. But hold that thought. Here we go. TLO has had enough of the shenanigans, moving out. And those tanks will siege before any fungal growths go down. A little bit, again, of a missed opportunity. Ghosts moving forward. If they can get these EMPs down, it would be huge.
Vibe's fungal growth!
Oh, and there's the EMP on almost all the infestors, but it's not enough.
Huge surround going, but meanwhile there is a counterattack on the 4th. It doesn't look like it's going to go down, as there's a lot of Marines over here. Vibe trying to get back into position. I don't know. Some of these do have... There's 1 fungal growth left. The Ultras do look like they're going to clean up things very efficiently, and still there was a lot of damage done to Vibe. Vibe is not looking right good.
Yeah, the hatchery's down. They lost the base. Natural's almost mined out, main's almost mined out, and not really being mined. I mean, he is taking this base down here in the middle, but even that's not long for this world. We do have actually 5 Marines on a suicide mission, it would seem, but even if they just cancel that hatchery, it's damage enough. Meanwhile, another drop making its way off the top of the map. TLO seems to be everywhere at once. Going into this match, Freetorp, we were talking about Vibe's APM and his muscle and just his raw ability, but right now it's TLO.
Yeah, TLO really speaking a lot, able to actually kill that expansion before it was canceled. And meanwhile, there is a little bit of an attack on the top. Single Marine gets dropped, and it looks like another medevac drop going down at the regular 4th of Vibe. And Vibe is going to be able to spot this out. He has Corruptors out. And, oh my gosh, fungal growth goes off. It looks like a second fungal growth will go off. Going to be able to kill all these Marines.
Migration of the orbital commands also happening in the middle of the map. Like, maybe that's accidental, actually. Maybe I'm catching someone with their pants down a little bit right now. Not supposed to be looking at that. Never mind, TLO makes no mistakes. Now, I still like the Zerg army. He's got a lot of infestors, which allows for some utility. He has expanded top again.
Yeah.
If he can kind of get his act together and stop attacking, what are the Ultras doing? Got to move back. I don't know, like, this Terran looks so damn locked in. TLO could not lose this game if he fell out of his chair and made a bratwurst.
Well, TLO doing another huge attack to this top position. Again, this hatchery is under attack. I don't know if it's going to be canceled or not. Ultras are going to be able to get here. Yes, it does get canceled. And 1 Ultralist does go down. Wow. And it does look like...
Micro. He could get the other one. And he does. He could get this last one. Look at that Micro moving outside of the range of the infestors, focusing down that last Ultra, so he will not get it, but it only has 6-7 health, and those things are pretty much the lifeblood, I feel like.
Yeah, that's exactly what TLO needs to do. Again, what he's trying to do is just sort of distract him from actually... He's trying to delay so he can get more gas. When he gets more gas, he gets more tanks, he gets more Thors. Those are the power-hitting units to be able to do that push. And it looks like he is satisfied. He's going to be pushing out with a huge group of Marines and tanks, going to be getting into siege mode and looking...
And those are the Brood Lords. Oh my god, the timing could not be worse. Infestors numbering in the dozen, for Pete's sake. That's a lot of them. Infestors. But you need other units. All the Marines go down almost for free because of those fungal growths. But those Brood Lords were expensive.
Yeah. Losing those Brood Lords is really, really huge.
Might lose Patrick too. He is going to lose. No. Alright, so Vibe actually does manage to save it. Here we go, moving forward. Neural Parasite's going down, but without any supporting units, they are not long for this world as well, as Artos would say. Cheers to him. Now Vibe is starting to suffocate. He is down to this one last base, which does only have 130 health, with a Terran Death Force marching inwards, knocking at the door. And I think, you know what, Vibe's just drying up. He just doesn't have anything else. That's it.
Yeah, Vibe has no more expansions right now. This isn't looking for good for him at all. And meanwhile, TLO has expanded to the bottom right. He keeps pushing in, though, from the middle to Thors, and with these Thors, it just clamps down. Again, position really, really nicely, and TLO is just demanding that he take complete map control.
Yeah. I mean, Vibe's hanging in here because he's a competitor. We do have a couple Brood Lords being morphed in. He is sitting on some Mulos. We have a nuke being built by TLO. TLO going to go for the humiliation. The upgrades have been a bit of a story here. TLO on 3 attack. With both mech and bio. And Vibe has outstanding upgrades, actually. He's at 3-2 melee and armor. Okay. Actually, I'm not quite sure how... Nidus Worm does go down at the top of that base over there for TLO, but that's going to be a difficult thing for... well, actually, they do squeeze in there. So that base will be shut down.
Indeed. The bottom right is going to be shut down pretty easily, as the Zerglings are going to be ravaging through this base. But meanwhile, TLO, he might be looking to actually counter. I'm not sure exactly what he wants to do just yet.
I mean, look at this. TLO is actually kind of running out of money. He does have this top base. Nidus Worm is going down, and oh my gosh. TLO is on top of his game. He spots that. That will die before it ever sees this light of day. But he is only down to that base. His fourth is about to be mined out. His natural main and third could not be more mined out. And there are a lot of infestors here. I don't know. Well, okay. The Marines at this top base combined with the missile turret, I think that makes it invincible as far as this inexpensive Zerg can be concerned. And there's the GG.
GG coming out from Vibe. And TLO is going to take the first game. Very, very nice play by him. Just absolutely dominating in map control.
I'm almost winded just keeping up with that game. And I mean, I went into it fully expecting Vibe to be the guy that I'm like, he's doing all these things. And it was for a while. The Nidus Worms were going down. There's multi-prong attacks. I mean, for a moment there, I was thinking Vibe's going to show us his strength. But you know what? He kind of underperformed. I'm going to come out and say it. Like, you're going to have to go ahead and, whoop, there we go. He was doing attacks, but he was throwing himself up against solid Terran defenses. And he had Nidus Worms poking up and down that weren't really being utilized. Like that one in the main did not do that much damage. The one at the back of the natural had a good 30-second delay to it. So I look to him to step it up in this game too.
Yeah, I know. I mean, Vibe definitely had the chance to show his multitasking abilities. But I think TLO, he just performed so well in that entire match. It just shows you his composure, too. I mean, he had 3 attacks. Vibe had 3 attacks going on at the same time, and TLO was able to just parry every single one of those attacks very efficiently. And when it came time to counterattack with this huge tank Thor army, just had no response to it whatsoever.
TLO almost... Yeah, we can go ahead and start this game and keep talking about it, because I actually could probably talk about all these matches for weeks on end. So we're going to go ahead and make sure these players are ready to go, and then start it. So there goes the countdown. This map number 2 will be Crossfire SE with Liquid TLO in the lead, 1-0 over 6 Jacks 5. It's game number 2 of this best of 3 for the North American Star League. Quick note about TLO, though, from that last game that I want to talk about. He actually was quoted in and around the MLG period of time as saying, the more the game descends into chaos, the more he finds he's in his element. The game kind of tilts in his favor, and I really feel like with that first game, it translated that way because he could not have looked more comfortable. Like, the more there was attacks going on everywhere, TLO was taking it each time. Like, he was winning more and more, I felt like.
Well, you know, it goes back to, I think, his training. When he first started StarCraft 2 and it was at the top of everything in the world, he actually used no hotkeys whatsoever.
Yeah.
And being able to multitask like that and use no hotkeys, that means your composure and your understanding of the game has to be top tier, and TLO has clearly shown that.
That's true. Now, for the mini-wheats of the world out there, I'm looking at you. Do not learn this game with no hotkeys, please. I mean, it's a gift, and it's amazing that he was able to do that, but please, stay in school and use your hotkeys. Now, to get into this game, the blue Terran, Liquid TLO, will be dropping in the top right-hand corner. And in the lower left-hand corner, we do have the red Zerg, 6 Jacks 5. This is a 1v1 map, so there's no question about where either player is going to spawn. And okay, we have a barracks going down at the ramp, pretty standard.
Yes, and we can also see that TLO has gone ahead, sent out a very early SCV, and just going to be denying this expansion. I'm going to be interested to see if he goes ahead and throws down some sort of building, but it does look like Vibe is going to be able to see what's going on and not going to be able to get down his hatchery right away. Instead,
drone coming out
throws down a spawning pool.
Yep, spawning pool already going down. Very smart. As a former Zerg player, I can tell you that that's, especially when you send the second drone, the Terran player is usually counting on the fact that you really want this hatchery to go down, so perhaps he's not anticipating that. Now the SCV has been depleted of all its life. It's down to 5, so it's going to have to go ahead and head back home, otherwise it will be killed. TLO is only going with the 1 barracks for now, and of course, as I say that, he has a second a depot. So cool, TLO is making me a smart man. Appreciate that. Orbital command does go down, all pretty straight up, and actually this hatchery goes down shortly thereafter. So just kind of a Swipperooski. Swip is my new word. It's actually swap is what I was trying to say, but my fat, amazingly beautiful lips got in the way. No gas. So he wanted to do a hatch first, couldn't because the SCVs went with the pool, but then hatch immediately after.
Indeed, and it's going to slow down the amount of larva that Vibe is going to have throughout this early game. It's not going to be too detrimental. We're talking about 1, 2 larva, not going to be that big. So he's going to be behind a little bit in that factor, but it's going to be up to Vibe to be able to actually compensate for that. He needs to apply a little bit of pressure and say, hey, you need to get an extra Marine or extra 2 Marines earlier than you want to, so that you can play optimally.
A few Marines are being produced off that single barracks. Neither gas has been taken for TLO. In fact, he has a lot of minerals. He's up to 600 here.
Yeah.
And what am I looking at right now, Retort?
Gosh.
No. Yeah, that's 4 more barracks being added.
No.
Stop it!
No, 5.
Stop it! Is he going to add a 5th? Is this going to be lunacy?
Oh, my goodness.
This is lunacy.
Lunacy indeed.
I love this. Retort, we're part of history. Say something epic real quick.
Hello.
I think the Seahawks will win the Super Bowl in 2013.
I'll have what she's having.
Yes. It's a 6 barracks, 1 base rush. I've never seen this before or heard of it.
Yeah.
Someone could call me an ignorant American if this is being done in Europe, and I just am not aware of it. But that is... Retort, can you even pay for that, dude? Like, is it going to produce Marines?
Yeah, it is going to produce. You're not going to be able to make any more SCVs for a little bit. This is, I think it's just on the cusp.
For a little bit.
Of,
this is the most all-in thing I've ever seen
in my life. You're not going to be able to at all.
He doesn't care about SCVs. He's going to bring them, dude. He's going to drop mules and bring them.
But I'm interested to see how Vibe is going to be able to scout this, as there's really good patrolling going on. Oh, Zergling's trying to go.
Scout.
Oh, and they're going to be able to see the Marines coming up. We're going to see how Vibe actually goes in and protects against this, as there is metabolic boost. Roach Warren is done, so we might see roaches up.
This is like Russia has literally touched down on the Oregon coast and is unleashing 7 million soldiers. This is absolutely ridiculous. The pathing is clear-cut from TLO to Vibe. So he's anticipating like 6 or 7 Marines.
Yeah, he's still making drones. He does not know this coming out.
Oh, you
now
know what? The Overlord.
3 more
Look at
Overlords.
This is actually the most sinking feeling a Zerg player has ever had. He's like, what? 2nd? 3rd barracks? No, never mind. He's actually just dying at home, so it doesn't really matter. Marines crushing in. All these roaches are going under the sheer weight of these Marines, and they have a free path into the natural. TLO could be taking this first series of the North American Star League for him in crushing fashion. Now these roaches are moving out, doing the best they can, but my God, man. That is so many Marines.
Yeah, I mean, the Marine count is only going to increase dramatically. Now Zerglings and Roaches are going to be able to come here, but still the DPS is able to kill all of these units so fast. Vibe scrambling to get as many units out. Now has Zerglings up, but still there are just way too many Marines going to be able to come in here. Now finally going to be able to pick up. It does look like a couple of these
many Marines. The final Roach does go down. And Vibe is doing everything he can, but even with the income chart, he's actually down a worker. You don't want to be down a worker against a guy that's producing this many Marines.
Oh, no.
Queen comes out, but honestly, she would rather stay in. She's like, why am I here? And this final Roach getting corralled into the corner and beaten down summarily. And these Marines just keep streaming in, so I mean, I feel like this looks easy. I can do this. I want to do this.
Whoa.
Yeah, I'm switching to Terran Berserk on Crossfire.
Indeed, we can see that the Roaches are just doing trying to do as much damage as possible. They do one-shot with 3 of them, but all these Marines are like, okay, we're going to come back and help the reinforcements. And now, I mean, 6 Roaches are out, or are on the way, excuse me, for Vibe. But still, I don't know what he can do. I mean, right now, it's just blue. It just keeps coming on, dude.
It's just constant blue coming down. I mean, he had the right idea, I feel like, with trying to cut off reinforcements, but there's just so many Marines.
Oh my gosh.
And TLO is doing such a fantastic job squeezing the value out of every one of them. It looks like Vibe's going to make a final stand. Hold that thought. He tried. It's 2 Roaches versus an army, and they are doing everything they can, but poor Vibe, you, sir, have just been TLO'd.
Yeah, we can see TLO is balling up. This is exactly what you want to do. And trying to use his drones now. Drones are going to push off into the Marine ball. Trying to kite. Really nice Marine micro coming out from TLO. Now finally Zerglings are going to be able to get in here. But I don't think it's going to be enough as all these units... GG coming out from Vibe. And TLO is going to take that game 2-0.
The Zerg player was making 6 drones. TLO says, LOL, I'm making 6 barracks, man. No problem. So, the most I've ever seen is like 3 or 4 before any gas or any kind of tech, and then just throw them out there. TLO cannot play normal if he tried. Someone was like, hey, you tried the 4 barracks barracks rush on Crossfire? And he's like, no, have you tried the 6 barracks rush on Crossfire?